Welcome food fans, picky eaters, the flavor curious, and everyone in between. Nothing makes good food better than good conversation. And your table is ready. Come right this way to the Food for ThoughtCast with your host, Melissa Reagan. But you can call her Chef. All right, let's get this episode started.
Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for ThoughtCast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan. But as always, you can call me Chef. Quite a treat in the house. Joining us today is your favorite frequent guest star of the Food for ThoughtCast, pretty much co-host, everybody's all-around favorite good cooker, Chef Stephen Gonzalez. What's going on?
Hey! How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm excited. I've been getting ready for this specific topic for a while now.
We are going to kick off.
Wait, what are we talking about again?
Pizza. It's pizza.
Yeah.
It's time for pizza, which, you know, based on the last conversation that you and I had, any time could be time for pizza because it makes a great breakfast, right?
That's right. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch, everything.
All
and
the
like
things.
my nephew always says, everybody loves pizza.
Everybody loves pizza. I think that's true.
He's not wrong.
I think it's true. He's not wrong. All right. So this is kind of the first slice of this series. Do you see what I did there?
Pun intended.
Puns always intended. Today we're going to talk about the types of pizza. But first, I have to ask, what was the most amazing thing you ate this week?
You know what? I'm actually working on the most amazing thing this week because it is on my stovetop. So I am making some beef cheek barbacoa.
Yes.
Because I am craving that. And then what we're going to do is we're probably going to put it over like some air fried fries or something along those lines. So kind of like barbacoa fries. There you go. Working on it.
Oh my gosh, I want that. I want that so bad.
I know, me too. But it still has a little bit longer to go.
Okay, so when you make these fries, like what else goes on top?
I'm going to get creative. So I'm cheating a little bit where we're getting like the frozen fries. So we're going to throw those in the air fryer.
Yeah, sure.
Barbacoa, I'm going to reduce all the liquid down till it's nice and thick, almost like a poutine.
Sure.
And then we're going to top it with like some guacamole, some pico de gallo, and I don't even know yet. We're just going to wing it.
That sounds incredible.
The way it's supposed to be.
I love it. And you know, it's not cheating. You're playing to your strengths and you're using all your resources. It's just smart.
Plus air fryers are awesome.
Yeah. I mean, so I've heard. I haven't taken that dive yet, but you know, like I really feel about a couple of things that you should just use them because they're easier. Like frozen French fries. Regular fries are a lot of work to make them good. Frozen fries, 2/3 of the work's already done.
Yeah. Agreed. I am team air fryer, and you should too. Let me tell you, I'm kidding. Maybe not why.
We'll save it for
We're getting off topic here.
I'm team crock pot.
Right.
More on that after the break, right? All right. So let's talk about pizza. I want to get a little bit brief history. Pizza has been around for centuries in one form or another. Typically agreed that it started in the form that we know it in the 18th century Naples, when tomatoes were relatively unknown and they were actually looked down upon as kind of a peasant food. And then it kind of hit America at the end of the 19th century. So we're going to talk about pizza by regions today in the United States. So Steve, kick us off.
Well, one of the most common ones that you will get a lot of debates on back and forth is Chicago style. What's your take on Chicago style?
So my exposure to Chicago style pizza is fairly limited to Uno's Pizzeria, which is a chain. haven't found anybody in Dallas that does it well. But I'm an equal opportunity. You're not going to find me ever saying no to a piece of pizza, and I don't care where it comes from. Like, I freaking love pizza. What about you?
I do too. I do like Chicago style pizza. I like that deep dish. I like the fact that the crust is a little bit more dense, in my opinion, and you just have all of those pounds of like sauce and filling and toppings and cheese and all sorts of stuff, and it's just amazing, in my opinion. It stands out on its own.
Yeah, I mean, I really like it a lot, and I'm a sauce fiend. Like, I'm a condiment fiend. So I love a good saucy pizza, whether it's thicker crust or deep dish or even thin crust, like a different style. I still want there to be a lot of sauce. And if it's not a hallmark of that style, I'm going to dip the pizza bones in sauce, and nobody can tell me otherwise.
Now, have you ever been to Chicago?
Yes, I've been a couple of times.
So one of the places that I've been there a handful of times as well, and it's Lou Malnati's. I absolutely love that place. It's just so good. And I know there's a lot of other really good deep dish places in Chicago, but that's one that has always stood out to me. And to me, they set the bar rather high when it comes to that style of pizza.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have the reputation for it. I think that there were talks of them bringing a location to Dallas for a while, but I just don't know that it would do super well in this market. I mean, it just depends. Like, it's just one of those hotly contested things. Pizza is so subjective. They have a reputation for doing that style extremely well. I haven't eaten there before, but everything deep dish that I've had, I've never not liked it.
Right. But you also have to look at it from, like, it's the Midwest. And when you think of Midwest food, you think a lot of heavier meals, things that are going to be hearty and like, for example, meatloaf, mashed potatoes. Like, that's what I think of when I think of like Midwest food.
Sure.
But I also think of the deep dish pizza because it's so hearty. It's so filling. And not only that, you just want to hibernate after you're done eating that pizza.
Yeah, and the sauce is not the typical pomodoro. Like, it's just a little bit different. It's more of a ragu, and then they have that brick cheese up there. It comes into play in some other types of pizzas too, but the cheese is definitely different. The fat content's different. So yeah, if you're nesting all that stuff in between a top and bottom crust, it's a completely different experience.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree. Speaking of Chicago, if we're going to be up in that area, what is another style of pizza? Detroit, right? Detroit has their own style of pizza as well.
Yes.
And I'm also a fan of that as well. Well, you'll notice that every style of pizza I'm going to be a fan of, mostly because it's pizza. Yeah, you're going to get I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, I think I'm a terrible person to ask on this subject because I like them all. They're all like my little pizza children, and I can't choose. That's actually not true. I can choose between them, but I will eat all of them. So yeah.
You're just going to get the yes out of me. What's your favorite style of pizza? Yes, please.
Yes, please. The kind that I'm eating. The kind that I'm eating right now. Why is this a question? So Detroit pizza is thicker crust and it's square.
Yeah, it's almost like a deep dish. Oh, and when I say that, we're just talking about Chicago, but it's like you're right. The crust is a lot thicker. It's a lot more like a breadstick, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think?
Having grown up in Texas, I've actually never been to Michigan. It's on the list, but I have not. Yeah, it's on the list. I definitely want to go there, but I definitely want to go to the Motor City as well. But I think the closest thing I've ever experienced, and you know what? You guys can come at me on the internet. I really don't care. I'm just going to keep recording the podcast. I don't care if it makes you upset. But the closest I think that in tiny suburbs of Dallas where I grew up is CC's, right? The kind of scorned pizza buffet chain that we have, which it's a really good bang for your buck, but it's not representative of any specific style. It's not necessarily good, but I also like it. So their version of deep dish is like that. It's like the Little Caesars crazy bread type bottom, like kind of a thick and fluffy but it's a rectangle. So what they're trying to do when they're trying to do deep dish is actually closer, I feel, to Detroit pizza, at least in what I've read.
Yeah. I also like that, when the Detroit style pizza is cooked, it's very, even though it's like a very thick crust, it's very light, it's very buttery, and it's almost got like that caramelized exterior, like you can just get that perfect crunch out of it, and again, or like you, I've never been to Michigan either, so it sounds like a road trip's
seriously
got to happen one of these days. But I mean, Detroit style pizza, from what I've had in some of the bigger cities, yeah, it's also very delicious.
Well, there's a tiny restaurant here that started as a pop-up during COVID called Thunderbird Pies. It's really close to me, so I'm going to have to go get some and then report back.
Yeah. I was just going to say, unlike Chicago, like even though the Detroit style's a little bit heavy, like I can eat it and still feel just like I can still walk out of the restaurant without having to hibernate. I would just need a good deep sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a power nap, but not the whole day.
Exactly.
So we've gone from the deepest and then the square. What's next?
Sicilian would be another style of pizza.
Let's do it.
I would imagine that's still, it's still pretty popular, like in the New York, Brooklyn area, things like that. It's almost like a Detroit style pizza where it's still kind of like square and rectangular, got like that focaccia style crust to it. Or is it just me?
No, I think you're right. So I was in the run up to this episode, I was really surprised to find out that sometimes there's no cheese on this style of pizza.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of bizarre, but it also seems like, I don't know, we could probably have the flatbread pizza conversation in a subsequent episode, like flatbread versus pizza. But the earliest pizzas probably most likely resembled flatbread or focaccia. So it makes sense because Sicilian's an older type of pizza.
Most definitely. Now, with the Sicilian style, I'm not too familiar with it. But I mean, from what I've researched and whatnot, it still looks really delicious and it still looks very tasty. Even if I was to get one that had no cheese on it, I would still enjoy it, because I would imagine that, a lot of those places, especially up in New York, they take their pizzas very seriously. So they make their sauces from scratch, and you can just taste the love and the time that goes into making all those sauces, So putting that over a really good crust or focaccia style crust, to me, I'd be all about it,
Yeah, 100%. One of my favorite things about focaccia is when it has the right amount of olive oil. So I'm just imagining that like really pleasant sponge with that extra virgin olive oil, like a really good quality, and maybe some herbs,
Yeah.
Put everything else on there.
Yeah,
like
no,
the
most
sauce and
definitely
cheese.
Yeah. Fresh herbs on a pizza is always fantastic, in my opinion. Like you just can't go wrong with it. Although I always take that extra step to like bruise my fresh herbs, so that way like all those oils and flavors come out into your sauce, onto your pizza and all that. I think it's, unnecessary, but at the same time, it is at the same time, because then you can taste the herbs to complement your sauce, to complement your bread or your crust. And I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think it's totally necessary. I mean, it's the essential oils from the fresh herbs and then the dried too. I mean, that's why when we use dry herbs in any kind of cooking, right, you're going to rub them between your hands to kind of warm up the oils and activate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what I like to do is I like to toast them, and then I'll do that. And just like everything just crushes up in your hand real nice. So you get like that nice, even coat of herbs with whatever you're putting it on,
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, it's definitely a 1-2 punch for flavor. So.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a really big
So
oregano fan as well.
Oh, yes. Oregano is awesome. I'm a big fan of it. I don't care if it's fresh, dried. I think oregano is simply amazing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple schools of thought too. Like I've known a few Italians from different areas, or where their families came from different areas. And I've heard everything from we put it in everything to real Italians don't cook with this. So I know it's kind of like a point of contention for some people, but I really enjoy it. All right, so Neapolitan pizza, I feel like it's had its moment these last few years all over the United States. I've seen it in a couple of different places. Dallas has several places to get this. It's mostly wood-fired, very fast, like 3 or 4 minutes for a pizza because the oven is so hot, so they're constantly rotating it. It's back to the round shape. It's usually a little bit closer to what you would find in Italy in the way that in Italy, you're not getting like a huge pizza for everybody to share a piece. The Neapolitan pizza by design is like everybody gets their own pizza.
I feel like Neapolitan style pizza, it's grown in popularity quite a bit over the last, 10 years for me. Like there's a lot of food trucks coming out with that style of pizza because like you were saying, it can cook so fast. So whether it's a restaurant, food truck, whatever the case is, they can put out a lot of pizza and in a short amount of time. And you always get like that nice char on the crust. And I also think you get that little bit of smoke as well because it's the wood fire. I'm a big fan of the Neapolitan style pizza.
Yeah, I've eaten my weight in them here. There's a local spot that's really close to me. And one of the things that's really nifty about how fast you can cook one of those pizzas is that it's highly customizable. If you could make that many at a time or you can make them that fast, then that kind of like BYO pizza turns into a really great option. And if you're charging for every single topping, I mean, you're making money, right?
Oh, yeah. What's crazy is I can eat, like you just said, like I can eat my weight in that style of pizza and not feel full, The problem, though, is I overspend every time I get that style of pizza because I eat a lot and it's just so good that my brain and my stomach do not communicate. So I'm just like eating and eating and eating. And next thing you know, I'm like $50 in with pizza. And it's like, I don't mind spending this much money on pizza. It's okay. Totally worth it.
Yeah, 1,000%. So I've had everything from bacon jam to Calabrian chilies to chorizo, all sorts of, not Italian toppings on this kind of pizza. And I love that char and that smokiness. And I'm a sucker for that. It's like when you're camping and you toast a marshmallow and you get the little burnt bits. Like that's my favorite part. It's so good.
Oh, yeah. Agreed. I've also noticed one of the things that a lot of places do is they'll do a truffle pizza and they'll use truffle oil on it. And that complements very well also the earthiness of the oil and the that char on the pizza. It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, truffle is one of those things I have to be in the mood for because a little dab will do you and it's got to be really high quality. But when it's in the right place, then it's really delicious. Now, one of the things that I read about this type of pizza is, it has to follow some rules to be like a true Neapolitan pizza itself. So there's the style that it's cooked in, which is what we're talking about. And then the real deal, which I had in Little Italy in New York last year when I went there for work. So it looks like the Italian flag is the idea. So it has hand-crushed tomatoes, basil, olive oil, and then buffalo mozzarella. And one of the ways that they get all the bubbles in the thin crust is that they ferment and proof the crust for a really long time. Yes. So those are kind of the things that have to happen for it to be true Neapolitan. But yeah, whether it's that way, the one I had in New York, yes, I ate the entire thing. It was 14 inches. I didn't even care. And then if it's the stuff at home that's got like, yes, I'm going to say it, pineapple, because when it's your pizza, you order what you want. And when it's my pizza, I'll get what I want. Okay. But yeah, I've eaten my weight.
I remember when my wife and I went to Europe, we went on a cruise and there was a few stops in Italy. We ate as much pizza as we could. And it wasn't like true Neapolitan style pizza, but like there was one place that we went to where it was all about the sauce and it was like fresh seafood that was over the top, like clams and things like that. And that was amazing. For not having any cheese, it was amazing how like the brininess of the seafood really made the sauce that much better. And it was simple, it was rustic, but my God, it was so good. And that was one place where you all can hate me for this, but I like ranch with my pizza for some reason. And I did not ask for ranch because I knew that I was going to get thrown out.
Yeah, well, because A, they probably didn't even have it, and B,
they'd probably say, they'd probably be like, ranch, what's that?
Hey, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
run.
So on the seafood pizza, was it red or white sauce?
It was a red sauce with this particular one. I mean, and there was a bunch of different styles of pizza. Like I said, we ate at least like 4 or 5 different styles of pizza. I don't remember all of them, but this particular one, I do remember. And actually, I do remember a Sicilian style pizza in Italy. I don't remember what city I was in, but it was just as good. It was more like, the Sicilian style. It was airy, it was crunchy, and they focus a lot on the sauces over there, which I think again is awesome.
I mean, there's no doubt that everything's going to taste better over there. You have the longitude and latitude, the specific flour, the quality of the water, everything, right? You have, the humidity is different, and then it's making it with love. The little hole in the wall family owned places seems to make it a lot different than it looks here. But I think there's people doing it right, quote unquote right, or doing it well rather over here as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. So if you're enjoying that style of pizza and you're in New York, what's the difference between that and New York style pizza?
So to me, the New York style pizza is, well, obviously they're not cooking it the same as a Neapolitan, right? So it's not that quick cook. And to me, the New York style has to be chewy because by and large, it's going to be eaten folded, which is also how I eat my pizza. Yeah. So it has to be chewy enough to where it can stand up to that fold without breaking in half.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like New York style pizza in New York?
Yes. I think I ate a piece every single day while I was in New York. And I was there. I was there for 3 weeks, like no joke, all the way from the $1 a slice down in Times Square to the really nice things that I had in Little Italy to, over in Brooklyn. Like, I had a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Have you ever watched that show? It's called The Pizza Show. And the host, Frank Pinello, is just going all over New York eating pizza and just talking pizza.
Yes.
And I loved that show so much. I highly doubt it's still around, but I have watched that show and it's crazy. Like, there's so many places. There's pretty much a pizza place on every corner, and they do their own twist. And the majority of them look all of them look really good,
Yeah. I had a couple pieces of pizza by the slice at a place called Rocchiano's. It was either lower east side, or it might have been on over to Tribeca, but it had penne and Alfredo and chicken and broccoli on it. And it was absolutely not traditional, but it was really, really good.
That just sounds like a bread hangover right there, or like a carb hangover. Let me rephrase that. It's a lot of extra steps, but I would be all about that. I know pasta and pizza shouldn't go together but that sounds awesome.
I have this very specific, we won't get into it today, but definitely we're going to come back to this topic because I feel like pizza is a canvas. And I know a lot of people out there disagree, but I will put all sorts of ridiculousness on a piece of pizza.
Now let me ask you this, because a lot of New York style pizzas are in coal ovens versus wood. Do you think that you would be able to pick up the difference between the coal and the wood as far as like the way those pizzas are cooked?
It really depends on what's on it. If you've got a lot of crazy toppings on there, or if it's like some sort of supreme situation or really heavy sauce, then I think that would mask some of the smokiness that you could pick up from wood. But if it was like just cheese pizza, then but I don't think it would be as much in flavor as it would be like appearance. Like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I feel like you get that slight flavor. I don't feel it would be overwhelming, like as if you're smoking meat and things like that here in Texas. But I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference now that I really think about it. If you think of, or if you put something as simple as a cheese pizza or even pepperoni, I would pick up that there's a little smoke to it, but I couldn't say this is definitely wood fired. I just say this pizza's good.
Yeah, my palate for all the things it is not that good, I don't think.
Same here. Yeah.
So, all right. What about New Haven style? Have you had have you had any experience with this New Haven, Connecticut style pizza?
That is completely out of my realm. It sounds really good. And the research I've done on it, I would be all about it too. I really need to try that.
Man, I have this on again, off again. It's actually not off again. I've always been, very struck by the idea of the East Coast. It just seems, I've been infatuated with it for a little while, but one of the places I've never been is Connecticut, or
Maybe.
Maine. And I want to go, but man, I love a clam and white sauce pizza. So maybe I've had it and didn't know, or maybe I've had some sort of like bastardized version of it. But yeah, like, dude, I'm all about a clam pizza. So bring it on. I've got to go try these things.
Yeah, a clams on pizza, it's delicious. And again, I'm all about that salty brininess. And when you complement all those other ingredients that are with it, to me, it sounds like I'd be all about that New Haven style pizza,
Yeah, absolutely. So what makes it different from the other types of pizza that we've talked about so far?
So New Haven style pizza, it's not perfectly rounded like other styles of pizza.
Sure.
And it's also got like a similar to grilled texture, like whether it's, whether you're adding a little bit of some olive oil to help get that little crispiness to it while it's cooking. And it's also got that coal oven type of cooking, if you will.
So a little bit faster then.
I don't know if it'd be faster per se, but it wouldn't take very long. Like,
yeah,
I would imagine like 10 minutes, give or take, maybe less than that.
Not as long, I guess.
Yeah. Cause like the wood-fired pizzas and all those, like the Neapolitan style pizzas, those have to be pushing 1,000 degrees or something like that. Like to get them cooked like that fast.
600-700, kind of like a steak.
My broiler. Temperatures are off. It feels like 1,000 degrees.
For real. But if you stood in front of it for long enough and had to work a shift there, I'm sure you would think it was 1,000 degrees.
Yeah. Yep. But I mean, I know New Haven being up in that area, like they do a lot of like the clams on their pizzas. And anyone who's listening from that area, if you feel like I am completely wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about, remember, I said I'm not too familiar with that style of pizza. So you can correct me all you want, and I would be up to learn something new.
Yeah, do please sound off on social media at the Food for ThoughtCast on Instagram and the Food for ThoughtCast on Facebook, and let us know what you think and what the pizza looks like where you are, because this is going to be a multi-episode topic.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, coming back into the country, like from the coast, there's also St. Louis style pizza. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with them, but it seems like they're a little bit more of like that cracker style, like that unleavened crust.
Yeah, kind of like a matzo cracker or a really, really crispy, crunchy crust, which, to be honest, because I fold my cheese and I fold my pizza, excuse me.
Oh, next step is to fold in the cheese.
What does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean?
Fold it in.
I understand that, but how? How do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
That's so strange. To be honest, because I fold my pizza, and I'm not really sure how I learned that. It was probably television, because it's definitely not a Dallas thing. But because I fold my pizza, like, it's got to stand up to that fold, and I feel like this would just snap in half like two saltine crackers.
And then you'd have like a pizza sandwich.
Yeah. I mean, there's also nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, and it's so I know with St. Louis style, they do a lot more like the squares, like they cut their round pizza into squares, or rectangles.
Now, yeah, I like that.
I'm not opposed to that, but it throws me off just a little bit.
Well, to me, the only thing it says is instead of 8 pieces, I'm going to eat 16, and I'm still down with that. I just say challenge accepted.
Wait, so then do the little triangular pieces count as a piece if you combine them in, like, you know what I'm saying? Because they're not perfectly square. Like, would that be like a half piece?
Oh, you mean like the edge pieces?
Yeah. So that would be what, like 16 and a half pieces?
Yeah, let's say they're half of the calories. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. When I think of the St. Louis style pizza, I always think of like the thin crust that you get like at the local pizza chains, Domino's, Papa John's, all that stuff. And I'm not opposed to them at all, but they're not my favorite. I'll still eat them because again, it's pizza and whatnot, but I don't know, there's something about it where I just feel like I can't fold it, and I'm like you, I have to fold my pizza. I just can't not eat a piece of pizza that's not folded.
Yeah, I fold my pizza, and I kind of like that thing that it does after you fold it. It's kind of smushy, and everything kind of goos together, and I don't know. I like it. That might be a turnoff for some other people, but for me, it's my favorite part. Yeah, I don't know, but so in St. Louis, they have this cheese called Provel. It's what they use. It's what they use on their pizzas. It's like a provolone, cheddar, and Swiss blend. That is going to be much less, closer to a provolone and less like a mozzarella, right? So much less moisture and less fat.
I will say though, the redeeming quality about that is they use a lot of oregano, a little bit more oregano than other areas. I'm going back to that. Yeah, I still love oregano. I stand by that statement. Oregano is an amazing herb, in my opinion.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So if we go swing to the other coast, let's talk about California style pizza.
What exactly would be California style? I mean, when you hear that, the first thing that I think of is like California Pizza Kitchen,
Yeah, same. So that's the first place I ever had pears, arugula, or blue cheese on a pizza. Have you ever eaten at one of those?
I have. Yeah, they're really good too, but I feel like because it's California, they have to try to be a little bit more out there with their ingredients and whatnot. And I would imagine they're the ones that started pineapple on their pizzas.
Hey, we love you, California. No offense. If there's like one listener in California, just know we just think you're extra with food. Okay.
That itself is not a dig. I promise. But like you get like the barbecue chicken style pizza and whatnot. And it's like just thinking outside the box and, using different sauces, different styles of cheeses, the smoked Gouda, stuff like that. And it's good and all that. But I mean, I don't know. There's something about it where I feel like even though I don't mind avocado on my pizza, like a little part of me just feels a little out of place when I have avocados on my pizza. I don't know.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like, please, the weirder, the better. Let's put it on pizza. I want to break all the rules, mainly because as a person, I'm fairly difficult and kind of rebellious. It's actually not true, but I like to eat. I just like to eat different things. That's all.
I mean, yeah, California style pizza, like it's good and all that, but I feel like what sets that apart from like other areas is that they're trying to, or not trying to, but they're using completely different ingredients that we don't normally think of, other than pepperoni, mushroom, bell pepper, stuff like that.
Sure.
And a lot of those have been it's been a home run, and I'm not opposed to it by any means, but sometimes I just want like a simple cheese pizza,
Yeah, 100%. One of my favorite cheese pizzas is from Home Slice Pizza in Austin. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've said I ate one piece of pizza, and what I really meant was I ate the entire pizza. But if you don't cut it, it's one piece.
Is that the same place off of 6th Street?
Well, there's several off of 6th Street, but this one is on Congress.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I've eaten at a bunch of places there in Austin, but I don't remember. I mean, the one that always stands out to me is the pizza place on 6th Street, But
yeah,
you don't forget. Yeah. You might forget, partying
the
on
entire
street, but
night.
you don't forget the pizza. You don't forget the food that helped you remember, sober up just a little bit on 6th Street.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think one of the things that California Pizza Kitchen gave to the world was just kind of the idea that you could put anything on pizza and it would still be pizza. Now, I don't know if that's really right or not, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
So, or what do we got
I
next?
will give them credit because they do. Let's see. We've got Quad Cities. So I'm not exactly sure what is meant by that. So let's see. You have, I guess, an array, like a few different cities that kind of all have the same style. Let's see. Spanning the Mississippi River between Iowa and Illinois, the Quad Cities gave birth to a hearty strip slice style pizza. So, I'm not too familiar with this one.
Yeah, this is actually a pizza that I'm not familiar with. So I just did a little quick search here. So the Quad Cities is apparently a region of cities in the United States, Iowa and Illinois. So it's Davenport and Bettendorf in southeastern Iowa, and then Rock Island, Moline, and East Moline in northwestern Illinois. So kind of like there's the four corners. This is like the other direction, and there's 4 cities between Iowa and Illinois. And apparently it has its own style of pizza, that's crazy.
Well, now I have to actually check that out too.
I've got to go on a road trip. So it looks like Illinois is pretty much the same on a lot of pizza, is what I'm saying.
They just want everyone to know how great it is out there, you know?
Seriously.
You know, we're going to make a really good bunch of styles of pizza, and you're going to remember us for that. But
right.
I was reading that they use a lot of like sausage, Canadian bacon. I also saw like taco toppings and vegetables, which are like a little bit more popular for that style, for that region.
I'm totally here for that. Please give me all the taco pizza.
I'd be all about that too. I would want my taco pizza to have everything on it, you know, even the avocado, which I would feel out of place, but I'd still eat it.
All right. So here's the ultimate question. If you figure out, right, how to make a Quad Cities style pizza and you make the taco version, are you the guy that puts the avocado on before you bake it and it's warm?
No, after.
After. Okay.
After.
I'm just saying.
What about you? What would you do, before or after?
Oh, definitely after. But I've had some things in my life where it was like somebody thought warm avocado was acceptable, and I'm just here to say no, it's not.
Ooh, I'm going to stay quiet then. I was going to say, the baked avocado does not suck by any means.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You can.
Yeah.
You can stuff like one and deep fry it or bake it.
Yeah.
You know, but I think, but on a pizza too, like I like that contrast. If you're going to put, you know, fresh lettuce on there, then I want it nice and cold. You know, hot and
I don't
cold.
know if I would probably exclude the lettuce though. Because
really?
It would be, typically it would be what, like iceberg lettuce?
Maybe.
I mean, like, that's what I would think of. Like a lot of taco spots that put lettuce in, it's always shredded iceberg. And I just am not a fan of lettuce in my tacos.
Those aren't real tacos, I think, though.
Yeah. But I would be all for everything else. But you also have to remember, I grew up on the border. So if I was to do like a taco style pizza, it wouldn't be like ground beef. It would be like chicharrones and, you know, barbacoa, all that kind of stuff, you know? So it would be, I think our style of taco pizzas would be different.
Yeah.
What would you do if you had to do like a taco style pizza?
So if I had to do a taco style pizza, it would probably have like a machaca. Is that, am I saying that right? Like the shredded beef.
Okay.
Yeah. I like
Machacado.
a braised. Exactly. See, I knew I was going to say it wrong. So yeah, I like that kind of style. Like I'll take anchos and New Mexico chilies and de-seed them, rehydrate them, stew them down, and I'll cook like beef shank or like another more affordable cut, shred it up into all that, kind of make your own adobo, right? I would probably do that with queso fresco and like cabbage escabeche.
I'd be about that. Yeah. I would totally be about that.
Or maybe beans, because I'm weird like that. So
fair enough.
Who said no beans on? I mean, you could like totally blend a good refried bean and you know, a really nice hot sauce into the base on that pizza.
I would imagine that would be pretty killer, you know?
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
But
Let's
like
see,
we
so-
already established, like I would eat it because it's pizza.
Yeah, even if it had like no pizza sauce or cheese, if you put it on bread and call it a pizza, I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's try this.
If you cut that business into a triangle or even a rectangle or a square piece, and you told me it was pizza, I'd be like, hell yeah, we're having pizza.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that'd be me. I'd be like, no, how dare you not call it pizza? It's in a triangle.
It's a triangle.
Well, speaking of shapes and all that, have you ever had Rhode Island style pizza?
I haven't. It's another place I want to go that I've never been to. The closest I've ever gotten is watching Family Guy, which is nowhere close.
I haven't had it either. I can't say I have. And I've watched a lot of Family Guy in my day, but I've never really thought about that. But like it's cut into long rectangles, and like what I've seen is that it's a lot more based on the sauce and things like that,
Yeah, so this is again like, so I know that there's, specifically like Detroit style is usually baked in a rectangle, but this is another place where I'm like, okay, if the whole thing's like a small rectangle, then isn't it a flatbread, or what makes it a flatbread and not a pizza?
Oh, you know what? That's a very good example. I would have never thought of comparing it to like a flatbread.
Yeah. So these are, did you say there's no cheese?
Yeah, there's really not much cheese. Let's see. And surprisingly enough, they're served without cheese.
That's crazy.
I would still be all about it because again, you get to see someone else's interpretation of a good pizza sauce, And
yeah, for real.
I always say a sauce can make or break an entire dish, and you know what? The same thing goes for pizza. A sauce can make or break an entire pizza. I would still eat the pizza if the sauce sucked, but I would complain just a little bit.
And it's always,
it says like they say it's got to be served really, really hot, and I'm not talking like spice wise. I'm talking temperature wise. But it makes it, like I said, it makes it sound just a little bit more homemade and a little bit more made with love. So I'd be all about trying that.
Yeah, I would totally try it. I mean, I've eaten like vegetarian and even vegan pizzas locally that either come with a cheese substitute or no cheese. And, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. To me, I'm going to eat it. It's pizza.
Yeah.
I
would
have
totally try that as well.
It's a little bit of an exaggeration. I do have like a more strict, palate than that, but I really, really like pizza. So I'm going to go after it. And then we can debate about it later, but I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. I have found that even though we have really worked on refining our palates, when it comes to things like this, all rules go out the window because I have to know what it tastes like. I have to know, okay, what's this style? Okay, what sets this apart from other places? Now, let's say we go to Rhode Island and try them. I'd have to try at least 4 or 5 different spots to see, are these ingredients the same? How different are the sauces? How different are the crusts and all that fun stuff, So
yeah,
there are no rules.
Yeah, right. I mean, getting to know yourself as a fan of food, or, if you label yourself a gourmet, or if you're a home cook, or even us as chefs, right? Like you've got to go put in the time to gain those experiences to know what you like and you don't like, just to form your opinion. It needs to be super educated and really informed so that you know what you're talking about. And Steve, if I have to take one for the team and eat 6 different pizza places while I'm on vacation, then, I'll do that.
So be it. Woe is me.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no, I have to eat so much pizza. But the hard part, and it's like when I was in St. Louis and Kansas City, you have to eat one slice. And if the pizza's bomb, you can't have just one slice.
I know.
And fill up. Like you have to pace yourself, and that's the hardest part. So, it sounds like a pizza tour is on, definitely going to be in our future one of these days.
Got to do it. Got to do it.
I agree. So then let's go to Colorado, because did you know they have a style of pizza?
Yeah, I actually did, because I'm a sweet and savory nut. So the most that I know about it is that they serve honey in some places for you to dip the crust in, which I think is genius.
There's a food truck here in Midland that does a hot honey pizza where it's like pepperoni pizza with hot honey on it. And yeah, the first time I tried it, I thought this is phenomenal. I have never had this in my life, and I have to have more.
Yeah. I'm a big hot honey
every time
fan in a lot of applications. Wings, pizza, you name it. Really good.
Oh, yeah. But to be honest, that's actually, I just learned something new. I didn't know that they would put a side of honey for dipping. I never would have known that. But it makes sense because if you really think about some of the legal things that are in Colorado, it makes you think just a little bit differently. And I'm not knocking on that, but I will say I need to go to Colorado to try this pizza, or at least, like having honey for a dipping sauce. Because it's not the same if you do it here in Texas. It's just not,
No, it's not. But think about the challenges that they're facing. They're having to cook at altitude. I can't even imagine. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just about to say that too. Yeah. That sounds like it would be a huge challenge right there as well. But they, people in Colorado have it figured out.
But yeah, so the amount of oxygen you have is going to be different. So the rising process is going to be different at altitude. The type of flour that they have is going to produce something that tastes completely different. And then, a Rocky Mountain pie or like that style was created shortly after World War II. And there was kind of this like pizza boom across the nation. It was, Rocky Mountain pie. I know it's a play on words, I think, right? Rocky Mountain something else, but Rocky Mountain pie. Yeah. But I see what they're going for there, but it's very, very thick, hand-rolled crust.
Yeah. And, fun fact, did you know that the higher altitude you go, the more your taste buds change?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, I was actually making that up, but yeah, now I feel that sounded pretty legit though.
Well, it's just because the amount of oxygen that you can get to your bloodstream is going to affect the way that your brain perceives the signals from your taste buds. See, you said a thing that you didn't even know was true, but it's true.
See, I always tell people I'm not as dumb as I look, and now things like this really prove that.
I'm not as look as I dumb you are. I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What do we have left?
Let's see. We've also got Ohio Valley style pizza.
All right. I have no idea.
What do you know
Never been
that?
there either.
Yeah.
None. Nothing. I got nothing.
See. Yeah. The toppings are put into place after the rest of the pizza's cooked. Let that sink in just a little bit. I had to say that twice because I had to make sure that I was reading that right.
That's crazy talk.
I don't know. That sounds like it would be kind of cool. Like you put like a room temp like pepperoni on a hot pizza or on a hot cheese pizza, or even like a mushroom or something along those lines. I do like when you use raw mushrooms for your pizzas. To me, they're just better that way.
I don't mind.
Imagine.
Yeah, I don't mind it unless you're using it as like. Unless it's standing in the place of meat, then I think you have to saute it for a really long time to get that meaty texture or, all those umami flavors out. But yeah, like a standard, like if I'm ordering like a Supreme or a vegetable pizza and it's got just like the sliced button mushrooms on it, I don't hate that. Okay, so I'm reading here. It says the heat of the pie, so the pizza in the box, is said to warm up the toppings to steamy perfection by the time you take your first bite. Like, all I can see when I read this is like, what could possibly go horribly wrong?
But also, are you taking it to go? If you're eating in the restaurant, do they let it sit for a few minutes before they send it to your table? Like, there's different details that you have to take into consideration. What if I'm taking it to go and I live like 30 minutes away? Is it still steamed to perfection?
Yeah, I don't know. It all seems like, so do they hold the toppings hot and then put them on? Right?
Well, that could be too.
Some level of hot?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So, okay, if anybody out there is listening and has had this kind of pizza, like we need to know what the deal is here. I'm very curious about this.
Well, they cut it. So they cut their pizzas into squares, and the shape of the pizza is square as well. So I mean,
yeah,
that sounds interesting. As long as it's like 8 pieces, where you get like crust on every single piece. Versus like, remember the pizzas that you had growing up in school where it seemed like there was no crust on the outside and like, I need crust. As long as the Ohio Valley pizzas are not like that, I can live with that. I can live with the fact they put their toppings on at the end. I can live with all that. I would be willing to try that.
I'm totally going to try it.
Oh, yeah. Did you know they also use stewed tomatoes versus like, raw or anything like that?
Oh, now that makes me want to try it less.
Tomatoes are good. What are you talking about?
All I can think of is like a crap can of Del Monte stewed tomatoes, which, hey, listen, it has its place, but like just the word stewed tomatoes just makes me think of somebody opening that can and dumping it on top of a pizza, like plop.
I would hope not. I would hope that they would at least, cook that down into a good sauce. But, people do things all the time that you're
maybe they're making their own, or maybe they're using like a really nice San Marzano or something like that. But
I don't know.
I won't know until I've gone to Ohio.
I think I would like to go check out Ohio now.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who live there that I tried to visit them before COVID happened, and then I had to cancel. And so this kind of makes me want to go even more. I'm like, okay, dudes, like I'm going to come see you. And I also need, for research purposes, to eat 8 pizzas. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah. With your luck, they're going to be like, you're on the wrong side of the state for that. That's on the other side.
They're going to be
like, have to drive 6 hours.
We don't have that here. Not so much here, but over there.
Just my luck. Oh, no.
Right?
Well, the next style of pizza is a Roman style of pizza. And I am not too familiar with this one as well. I would feel like I've been eating pizza all my life, and I don't know some of these styles. I almost feel like a fraud.
Yeah. So I've never, ever had Roman style pizza that I can speak of. But I am reading here that it says it's generally 3 feet long. So count me in, please.
Yeah. I think we need to go check that out. And did you also see that it's cut with scissors and they price it at like however much it weighs? How crazy is that? Please
sign me up. Any food that's sold by weight, I want a part of this.
I'd be like, I'll just take the whole thing.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. With my luck, it's going to come out to like $200 or something like that. I'm going to say, all right, it's too late. I'm not going to look like that cheap guy. Put half of it back. No, we'll just do it. We'll just get a bit expensive pizza. Although it probably isn't that expensive, but
yeah. I mean, if I don't have electricity for a month because I got to try a 3 foot long pizza, like I could live with that. It's fine. Priorities, dude. Priorities.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now, I wonder with this if it's very traditional styling or ingredients, or if they kind of go off and get creative like California style. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm gonna have to look into that. I imagine, because it seems like it's more traditional in nature, that they probably don't mess with the toppings.
Maybe you might be onto something there. I don't know. Good question.
I don't know. All right, so after Roman style, we have New England style. I've never had this one either. Have you?
I have not had that either. So I feel like we've been living under rocks now at this point.
I know, seriously. I mean, I've been to New England. I've been to Boston a couple of times, but I'm not eating pizza while I'm there. Truly, like I'm eating lobster rolls and lobster rolls and fried clams and entire lobsters. And if I've gone, I've been to Little Italy twice up in Boston, in North Boston, and I wasn't eating pizza there either. So truly, this kind of baffles me because I'm like, well, I feel like you would have all of the more Italian versions up there, right, available, which I'm sure there were, but I wasn't seeking those things out. But it looks like this is a thick, soft crust with, there it is again, oregano Senate tomato sauce.
I'd be about that, yeah.
I'm totally about that. And then it says that it includes cheddar and mozzarella, which also all about that. I love a blended cheese. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Sign me up for that. I would be all about that. After looking at a New England style pizza, I feel like if you were to throw like garlic butter on the crust right before you send it out, I would be in heaven right there. You know, I love a crunchy style pizza crust, but I'm also all about a soft pizza crust.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Steve. Like, I like bread a lot.
Me too.
So I feel like in this garlic butter discussion, so you have this New England style, right? Like a thick, soft crust, which to me means it's chewy and foldable, which is like, yes, all that oregano and then cheddar and cheddar in addition to the mozzarella, right? So the cheddar's gonna have like a little bit of a sharper flavor, a little bit more salty. So I'm like, yes, I want your garlic butter, but I want hot honey garlic butter on that crust.
Why haven't we done this yet?
I just want. Can we just make this happen?
Yeah, we need to make this happen. Most definitely.
Making it happen.
You know, my wife and I are talking about going to Salem for Halloween this year. I'm hoping that happens. I'm crossing my fingers as hard as I can. And if that does happen, you better believe I'm going to be trying a bunch of different styles of pizza up there.
You have got to go find everything. Promise me.
With my luck, though, it'd be all like Halloween-themed pizzas, you know, because, you know, the witch's pizza, the jack-o'-lantern pizza. I don't know. I feel like that would end up being because I want to go for Halloween, that they would have all that stuff. But with my luck.
I think, you know, there's all that shtick stuff around Salem where they'll lean really hard into the touristy holiday stuff, but you can find also like equally prevalent is just kind of the historical side of everything that happened there. So I think you'll be able to find some really good spots.
Oh, yeah. I would totally be the tourist. And I would keep telling them, where can I get the best pizzas? And see what people say. See what all the locals say.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I want to know about it. 1,000%.
Well, rounding out the final style of pizza that we came across, it's Washington, D.C. styled.
Yeah.
Styled. I know that's not a word. Well, like, is it a word? I don't know. Styled.
It is now.
I'm so I got styled up. If it's not, then we're going to make it word. My vocabulary needs to grow. But DC style pizza, what would you compare that to?
There's a couple of places in Texas that they're like gimmick pizza places. So they have like massive pizzas, like backseat of your car size. And that's really the only thing that I can think of here. So Washington, D.C. really didn't have its own kind of pizza, officially in any sort of official capacity until the late 1990s, and everything else on the list we talked about, it's been around for a really long time. So I'm just like, I don't know if this is novelty type pizza, but each piece is over a foot long. I'm
all about that. Yeah. So in San Antonio, there's a place called Big Lou's Pizza. And if you remember the episode we did with Chef Ernie, he said he worked there for a little bit before they got to be all novel with their giant pizzas. And I've eaten some of their giant pizzas, and they're very delicious. The crust is out of this world. But the problem, though, is as you get to the center of the pizza, it's just kind of soggy. You know what I'm saying? And I would imagine that a big slice of pizza like this, it would start off a little bit soggy, and then as you get closer to the crust, it's like crispier and crispier and crispier. And I'm not opposed to that because, you know, you start with one texture, and then by the time you're done, you have a completely different texture, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not opposed to differing textures in the same dish, right? Like, in fact, it's actually my preference that you can hit every flavor quadrant and then have competing textures, because I like those dynamics. But I think there's a huge difference between greasy, cheesy, softer, more chewy crust or like the dough, right? And then, but when you say soggy, my mind goes to like soggy dough, like it just doesn't have a good connotation.
Soggy is probably not the best adjective for it, but that was the only one I could think of.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm not faulting you for using that word. It's just like, I just don't know if first of all, I love pizza, but the joy of pizza to me is like adding up the bones when it's over and seeing how many slices and kind of having those as a reference for how many pieces you ate. If one piece was over a foot long, I mean, first of all, that's a lot of chewing. And secondly, like that's a lot of goo like in the middle. I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, are you the type of person you eat the inside of your pizza and then you save the crusts for last, or do you eat the crust before you hit the next slice of pizza?
All right. It depends on what kind of pizza it is. So the Neapolitan, I'm going to eat that crust in every single bite because that's like thin and blistered and charred all the way across. And then some of the other pizzas, like in New York, right? I am going to save that crust and then I'm dipping it in marinara for sure.
You're making my mouth water because now I want pizza.
Yeah, I want pizza right now, actually.
I do too. Now that you mention it. I know I was talking about making barbacoa fries and all that, but I think that's going to have to wait till my next day off.
Why not barbacoa pizza?
Oh, I might have to go hit up a pizza truck and then throw barbacoa on the pizza. It's a collective effort.
Yeah.
I don't know. I either way, that sounds really good. I would definitely have to have like some sort of like garlic butter or in my case, ranch to dip my Washington, D.C. style pizza in. Yeah,
absolutely. I can't imagine. I don't know. It excites me that thinking about one slice of pizza taking 2 plates to serve. But I don't know if it's the kind of pizza that I would go for all the time.
I mean, if it's pizza, it's pizza. I'd go for it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's good pizza and there's great pizza. So I'm just like, well, whatever I'm in the mood for it in this particular moment.
Well, if you had to pick one style of pizza out of the 15 we just discussed, what would it be? What would be your number one?
It's New York.
Really? Yeah. I thought you were going to pull the pass card. I can't pick just one.
I will eat all of them. But at the end of the day, I want like a thin, chewy crust that's foldable. But I'm going to go put some like whack toppings on it anyway. So I'm probably a pariah for every type of pizza. I'm like an outcast.
Fair enough. I'd probably go for like the Neapolitan style pizza. Just stay with that because that's like I was saying earlier. Like it's a little bit of a fad, but it's a good fad. You know, if it sticks around for a long time, I will be totally okay with that. Yeah. I'm never going to turn that one down either. On the thinner side. Yeah. I have to be in the mood for the other things, but yeah, on the thinner side for sure. Oh yeah, I agree. Well, Steve, this has been amazing. This is the first of several. This is just but one slice of several episodes concerning pizza. So for today, where can we find you in all the online spaces? Yeah, so if you want to follow me on social media, Chef Stephen Gonzalez on Facebook, Chef Stegon's on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, or just go to chefstephengonzalez.com and talk food, whatever you want. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. Oh, it was a lot of fun. We talked about one of my favorite things in life. Yeah. So, yeah, it was awesome. Same. I consider it its own food group. Yeah, same. Yeah, agreed. Have a good day. Hey, you too. Catch you later. All right. Bye-bye. Steve, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's wait, I know this one. It's in Italian. Pizza. Assault. It's assault. That's a wrap for today. Until the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast, make good food, eat good food, share it, and be kind to one another.
Thanks so much for listening today. You are part of what makes us special, and we are so glad you joined us. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review. just like food, delicious podcasts are better when you share them with others. Come back for seconds wherever podcasts are served, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Food for ThoughtCast.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Food for ThoughtCast or at www.foodforthoughtcast.com, where you can link to all podcast players, or you can send us an email at foodforthoughtcmc@gmail.com.